Hello everyone. For today's Wing Chun video, we're going to take a look at our shoulders, chest, and back. We're going to talk about loosening up, kind of freeing up some of those areas to hopefully unlock a little bit more of your looseness and your freeness through your movements. So let's just start off with a simple warm-up, bringing the hands swinging up behind the head, elbow pointing towards the ceiling, and back down in front. Twisting with the waist toward that arm as it swings up. If you like, you can get that second hand involved, feeling it move out and forward or out and down as that hand comes up and back. You really want to stabilize with your hips here. It's about getting that range of motion through your torso. All right, and we're going to come back to the other side, do the other side a few times. All right. Once again, we're really aiming to get that elbow up, up, stretch, about 10 more. Six, 4, 3, and 1, and let it shake out a little bit. Okay. Now, a lot of times in Wing Chun, it's very easy to end up getting really rounded and really forward with those shoulders. That's really detrimental to your application, your practice. This really commonly happens, especially if we do a lot of Chi Sao. So things that are really good to do, your first form, your Silam Tao, and check in on things with the shoulder. You really want to check for things like, is my shoulder going forward? All right. Am I askew with this, or am I able to keep my body square through my motion? All right. It may feel at times like you have very short T-Rex kind of arms when you're only going out the distance of your arm, but that's going to give you so much better connection. It's going to make your movements a lot nicer in the long run. All right, we'll do some more shoulder loosening exercises. We're going to bring our hands together in front, clapping the hands in front, bringing them in behind, clapping them behind. You want to actively try to relax the front as your hands move back, and actively relax the back as the hands move forward. It's all about loose, soft, and relaxed. It's not about speed, but really we're trying to aim for more range of motion. Another 20. Ten. 3, 2, and 1, and shake them out a little bit. Okay. We're just giving a little buffer between each exercise to allow the shoulder to become softer. All right. The next exercise we're going to do is sort of a Qigong-based exercise here. We're going to bring the hands, circling them in and out. So my fingertips are going to face inward. All right, I'm going to be, once again, on that stable stance with my feet planted firmly. Elbows are going to pull outward, all right? This is primarily an elbow movement, all right? Even though I'm working out the shoulder, I'm primarily thinking I'm moving from that elbow. I really want to feel like someone's pulling my elbow to the side and then down, like it's trying to go down to the corner of the room. So once again, hands are down, head extended, tailbone sinking, out, out, out. It can be tempting when doing these types of stretches to stick the head forward. Make sure you bring your head up. If you stick your head forward, your chest will remain tight while your back loosens, and we want to loosen both the front and the back of the body. So head up, elbows out, drawing to the left and to the right. And a hold for 30 seconds on each set, approximately, and work on breathing. Using your breathing to relax the muscle. You want to feel the musculature itself start to pull apart and separate, loosening up all those adhesions. And let it relax down. And shake them out a little bit. Okay. We're going to do this again 2 more times. All right. Just looking for looseness. All right. So right now I'm shaking through the arm, right? Almost like I'm fanning myself. All right. There's other ways to do this. Sometimes we use practices known as chi piling to help with loosening up some of those pieces. Okay. All right. I'll do a couple quick shoulder shrugs. All right. Hands coming down the center. Elbows open. Separate left, right. Remember, head up, not forward. Sitting on your tailbone. And breathing. The big temptation in this one sometimes is a tendency to want to let those shoulders hunch out to the front. Try to keep them pulled back. It's a complex stretch. Right? Whenever you have spiraling through your stretch, it's going to be a lot more on that complex side of things. Hold it for just another couple of counts. 3, 2, and 1. Let it relax and shake it out, okay? This time I'm going to do a little bit of chi piling, all right? So we're bouncing, letting our heels tap the ground, and you want to feel the shoulder and even the entire sides of the body around the spine just loosen and hang. I'll just do this for another couple of seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right. One more time, getting into good stance here. Covering down the center. Palms face the ground, shoulders back, head up. Sitting on your tailbone. Feeling the elbows pull to the left to the right. You may even feel, while you're doing this, like your fingertips are trying to move towards each other as well. Right, so fingertips towards each other, elbows away from each other, out to the left and right and toward the ground. Working to relax through the shoulder and the chest, that whole top part of the torso. Or the more extended up you are through the head, the more appropriate the stretch is going to be. Hold it for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And once again, shake it out. You can either do this method or do the chi piling method. All right, just to get the musculature that has been doing a little work also to relax back out. Okay. All right, we're going to do one more Qigong-based exercise for stretching out those shoulders for our Wing Chun. We're going to bring the hands up the body, turn the palms outward, go overhead. We'll reach all the way up towards the ceiling or the sky. And then we're going to bring the hands down, making a triangle with the hand over the head as we separate to the left and the right with the elbows going down and out. Okay? So we want to make sure when we get to the back of the head, we're staying connected to the head as long as we can as those elbows move outward and downward. Right? This is a pretty big stretch, and then as you finish coming out and down, then we can wrap the elbow to the front and let the hand come down. Okay? This can be a fairly intense stretch, especially if you go slowly through it. Okay? Not going to go quite that slow this time. You can slow it down for yourself. All right? And if it gets to be too intense, all right, you can go a little bit faster, but make sure you still keep it somewhat slow. Come up. This is very passive style training, passive stretching. We reach up, up, up. We bring it down, connecting the fingers, the thumb and the index fingers. We bring it down toward the back of the head. It's like you're putting a crown to the back. And out. Letting the fingers separate a little bit, but keep that connection to the head as long as you can. Feel it separate left and right, breathing as you need to. And as your hands start to come away from the head, you can wrap the elbows to the front and then let it come down. Okay. Once again, shaking it out, getting it loose. Okay. Try this 2 more times. Hands coming up in the front, relaxing on to your tailbone. Palms face away from you, up toward the ceiling. Reach up as high as you can. And now slowly bring it down. It's tempting to be up and lifted with the chest here. Make sure the chest is still relaxed. You want to try to keep the chest in as neutral a position as you can. Remember, our work is on our shoulder here. Shoulder and chest separate. Bring it down. Separating. Bring it down. Draw it out. Wrap it to the front and let it come down. Okay, one more time. Hopefully your arms are getting looser and looser already, feeling more and more free. All right. Last time on this exercise, hands coming up in the front. Rotate those palms outwardly. Up. Toward the ceiling, reaching up into the sky. Check in on your chest. Bring it to a neutral space if you can, breathing out as you come down. Taking as many breaths as you need to, but focus the stretch through the out breath. Continuing down. Elbows draw apart. Wrap it to the front. And let it relax. And shake it out a bit. Okay? All right. So the next exercise I'm going to do for loosening up on those shoulders is going to be with a stick. If you have a stick, great. If you don't worry too much about this exercise. This one is best when your shoulders are already relaxed, okay? So if you have any problems with rotator cuffs or anything like that, I really suggest you away from this exercise until you're healed, all right? So this is good for people with healthy shoulders, but you want to kind of adjust or modulate the amount you do this. You don't want to do too much, okay? So this is not an exercise to do very often, but it can be really useful for getting the arm more relaxed. So I have sort of a short, this is probably like 5.5 feet here, stick, and I'm gonna be grabbing on to the ends of it first to start out, just enough to go over my head and down behind the back, right? At the fullest range of that stretch, it should be fairly easy to go up and over, right? Now the idea with the stretch is the further you walk in the hands, the more challenging it will be with the shoulder, all right? And there are some people with crazy flexible arms and shoulders that can get their hands pretty darn close together on this exercise, all right? For myself, I can get somewhat close, but I still got quite a ways to go, all right? So we loosen up and over. You want to make sure you're not going straight up, right, or straight down in the back. We're arcing, we're following that arc through the motion and working to relax the shoulder to let it fall. The less work you can do with the shoulder, the better it is. This is really purely a free rotational exercise, right? You can keep walking those hands in about a thumb length each time to see how far up and through you can get. Can be really tempting if you get stuck part way to try to pull and go up, right? I suggest if you get to that point of getting stuck part way up, you come back down and then you try to find that arc. Once you find that arc going through, it'll be much easier, right? You may feel some stretch and some pull, right? But you don't want to physically be pulling too hard back against it, okay? We want it to be a fairly passive stretch. So it's just rotational. When your shoulders are loose and free and you understand that arc, you can move the stretch a little bit faster, but I wouldn't go much faster than that, all right? You really want to be careful about this in terms of injury, not just on your shoulder, but also on your elbow, okay? If you torque too hard on this, you can definitely do a little bit of light damage, all right? So be gentle with these sorts of exercises. And like I said, if you don't have a stick, don't worry too much about this one, all right? This is a more, a little bit more of a challenging stretch, all right? Some of these other stretches actually do quite a good job, all right? Okay. So there's a good one for you. You can practice on that one a little bit, okay? All right. Now, we're gonna do one more final exercise, and then we'll do a little bit of punching, a little bit of foxhow, so you guys can see how much your shoulders have loosened up through your process. And now that your shoulders are getting loose, you really have to watch to make sure that you don't overextend, all right? We want the muscles to be stretched out and free, but you also want to be able to control where they're positioned. All right, so this exercise, I'm going to cut across the body with my arm, turn it over, and come back. I'm turning with my waist through this. This is a figure 8 shape. I'm just going to work one arm at a time, cutting down, cutting down, cutting down, and cutting down. I'm letting my thumb side go through, and I'm letting the back of my hand come through. Free with the shoulder and free with the waist. My secondary hand can follow a little bit, okay? And it's just kind of resting out in front of me. I'm gonna do this for just about 30 seconds. And just a couple more. 3, 2, 1. Changing sides, other arm. Remember, thumb side down, back of the hand, twisting with the waist. This is meant to be loose and free. Just using your waist to guide the arm. Just a few more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we're going to do both hands now. Both hands through that same action. All right. So technically you don't have to do this one-handed, but I do find sometimes it's useful or helpful to focus in just on loosening one side before doing the doubles. All right. Okay, now we're going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to just go right into it with the two hands, all right? Upward cutting, all right? Upward cutting. So my thumb side is traveling up from that bottom hand, that top hand. It's the edge of the hand coming up. And then same thing on that opposite side. Now it's this edge and this thumb coming up. Loose and free swinging. And just a bit longer here. This exercise can be done as a single hand, right? But as I said before, isn't completely necessary, but can be useful sometimes to practice just on that single cutting up and through, okay? All right, last thing left to do. We're gonna do some punches and we're gonna do some fox down, all right? Once again, your goal is to feel yourself through the shoulder, through your chest, through your back, upper back, and feel for more of that looseness, okay? Anytime you do any stretching, while it seems like maybe you haven't worked all that hard, make sure you still drink water, make sure you still rest, all those important recovery things, okay? So we're gonna start with just some swivel punching, and we're gonna punch 3 times on each side, all right? Just keep it loose. Just a shaped hand, sending those arms straight out from you. And think when you turn my shoulders to square. When I turn my shoulders to square, keeping that head up. Recommend everyone to do probably about 200 punches here. Okay. I'm not going to take the time to do all 200 with you, right? So after the video, go throw a couple hundred punches. All right. We'll keep that loose. Keep that loose. Head up, shoulders square. Okay, and come back. All right, do a little bit of fox down now. Once again, probably just to keep it easy, do about 200, all right? Now you all know that 200 is like nothing. Really, it's probably more like for good training, you want to do at least 1,000, all right? So we're gonna do some fox style. Now make sure when you do this motion, fingers extending out to the 2 sides of the room and not swinging the arm back You want your hands going this way through the motion so they don't travel behind the plane of the body. If you see them arc back behind the body, you're not working your shoulder structure in a healthy way. All right, you're more than likely going to hurt something if you do this too much. All right, so we want to work on those mechanics, efficient movement, hands out to the sides. Again, relax, feel the looseness through the chest and the back. Shaking out through the fingertips. Using that time where the elbows come to the front of the body to check and see, is my shoulder seated, all right? Or is your shoulder moving forward on you, okay? Make sure you're back with that structure. We go out and in. I'm just going to do about another 20 with everybody. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay? Good. So, go do a bunch of punches, go do a bunch of fox style drills, all right? You got at least, 200, all right? If you're feeling a lot more excited about doing your practice, go do 1,000, up to 2,000. Or if you had nothing better to do today, go to 5,000, all right? All right, so hopefully you all can get a good sense as to different ways to loosen up some of these structures, all right? Most people, our pecs are really, really tight. A lot of us, our backs get really, really tight, especially if you practice a lot of Wing Chun. It can be very tempting to end up in this rounded position or posture, especially if we're used to pushing outward, okay? We want to make sure we don't lose our anchor points, our shoulders being a really key anchor point, all right? If you're trying to think about how do I apply this back into application, when you strike, when you hit, whatever technique you want to utilize, if your shoulder goes forward on you when you throw that punch, if your shoulder goes forward on you when you use a lan sao or a fox sao, it's a weak point in the line, a lot easier to take advantage of. So you want to make sure you keep this connected. If you're having trouble reaching your opponent, when you start bringing those shoulders back, you have to move in deeper, right? Move closer to them into their space, all right? So it's really a lot more about where you place your body rather than where you throw your hands, okay? Keep your structure connected. Keep on working, especially when you go into your Selim Tao, you practice your form. All right, really double check yourself on those shoulders. All right, make sure when you do your movements, all right, you're not letting yourself slump, okay? Making sure when you throw your punches down that center line, your shoulders are connected and balanced, okay? These are what we want to kind of look for, all right? Make sure you look back at Joel's video if you're having trouble remembering the form, and he will take you through it. Okay, that's it for us today. We will see you next time. Look for the next video coming up next week. All right, thank you everybody, and have a good day.